All right, then you're welcome back to Channel Sport this morning. Shola just played so well the last time he was on the show, so he retains his shirt this morning. Shola Rogers, it's great to have you on the show.
All right, it's always a pleasure to be here. Don't know about playing so well.
Yeah, you played very well. The last time we were together, you played so well, so I decided to keep you on from the start. No substitute appearance for you.
That would be nice.
All right, let's get on with the show now. Let's start off with the Golden Boy Award nominations. Yeah. That was released yesterday. The award is for players under 21, the most promising under 21 players. The nominees top 20 was released yesterday, and for a lot of people, Nigerians especially, were surprised to see that Samuel Chukwueze did not make the final cut.
20, yeah.
And for me as well, so I thought that was a flawed list, and I fully expected to see Samuel Chukwueze on this list.
Well, there are two ways to look at it. If you look at it from your angle as a Nigerian and someone who believes that Chukwueze should be there, of course, it is flawed. But the organizers probably have their own parameters and yardsticks for putting these things down. But without trying to be too political, I feel that there's so many things wrong with the list. Apart from Chukwueze's name not being there, a couple of people were not in the top 40 when they brought out the list of 40 who are now in the 20. You know, so you start to wonder, how does this work? So I don't know what they're on about. Golden Boy Awards have always been glamorous, really something to look forward to year after year and all of that. But Chukwueze, to me, really deserves to be there.
It has to be.
You have a João Felix, you have Matteo Guendouzi, you know. So you're telling me that Chukwueze, who's had this fantastic season, does not deserve to be there?
Shola, let's take a look at the list together, and we're not disrespecting anyone on this list.
Yeah.
I actually truly believe that Samuel Chukwueze has had a more promising career than half of the guys in this top 20 list. Alphonso Davies played for Bayern Munich. Good player. Matthias de Ligt actually won it the last years. Good player, so you'd say deserves to be on the list. Gianluigi Donnarumma, the goalkeeper for AC Milan, fantastic talent.
He's been at the top of his game for the past 2-3
exactly,
seasons,
and it's still under 21, so that's understandable. There's also Ansu Fati. Ansu Fati just had a breakout season, right?
Ansu Fati, to me, shouldn't be on this list.
He just had a breakout.
He hasn't even played up to 20 games.
There you go. There you go.
So but, I don't know. It's Barcelona, man.
It's Barcelona.
And I'm not sure he was in the list of 40.
I didn't cite him.
His name wasn't there.
So you think this is in small group?
Yeah, that's what's happened, you know.
That's what has happened. Interesting. There's also João Felix, good player, made that big money move to Atletico Madrid. Yeah.
And he has already slotted in at Madrid.
Yeah.
He's already doing the business there. But yeah, I think his name should be there.
It should be there as well. There's also Phil Foden, can barely get a game at Man City.
Foden is there by what parameters or yardsticks? I don't know. Yes, he's a prospect. So I heard what Pep Guardiola said about him, that this guy is not for sale at any amount and all of that. He doesn't want to make the same Jadon Sancho mistake that he made, you know. So, but him as a Golden Boy nominee, I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, we'll see. It's good for. Yeah, I mean, it's good for Foden, but yeah. Let's move on. There's also Matteo Guendouzi for Arsenal. Is a good player. Is a regular for the Arsenal. So you can understand his inclusion. Erling Haaland, the Red Bull Salzburg striker, scored a hat-trick on his debut. I mean, that's
everybody's
mighty.
talking about Haaland now.
Yeah.
And all the top clubs are talking about buying him and all of that. So yeah, well, why not?
Exactly. You know? So there's also Kai Havertz. There's Dejan Jovalic, Moise Kean, Lee Kang-in of Valencia, Andre Lunin, Daniel Manel, Mason Mounts, Rodrigo, Jadon Sancho, Ferran Torres, Vinicius Jr., and Nicolo Zaniolo.
Moise Kean had a good season in Italy, regardless of all the racism issues that he faced there. But now he's finding life very difficult in England.
Very difficult.
That doesn't take anything away from him being on this list. I think he deserves to be on the list. Jadon Sancho obviously has to be on a list like this. But you start to wonder why, really and truly, indeed, why Chukwueze is not on this list.
It's mind-boggling.
If you could put a few Foden on, then why not put Saka, who has also had a breakout season? If you can put Ansu Fati, because he's playing 1 or 2 games for Barcelona, then why can't you put Fikayo Saka or any of those other guys? So that's why I'm saying that this list, to me, really sounds very funny. But hey, we really can't control these things.
Yeah, we really can't control these things. I wish all the nominees are the best. That award is going to be announced. The winner will be announced later before the year runs out. Let's move on from football now. Let's talk tennis. Lagos Open Tennis Championship. The second leg is on the way already, and there are 5 Nigerians that have made it to the main draw. Just 5 Nigerians, Chola. And we had a couple of guests here yesterday, Jonathan Igbinovia and Tolu as well too, and they kind of sounded pretty confident that we'll get quite a lot, of Nigerians in the main draw. But as it is right now, it's just 5 Nigerians, 4 guys, and 1 woman. So results are from the qualifying draw round 2. So they have to play 2 qualifying matches to get into the main draw. Yeah, that's because they're not really
a top tournament, because at times people just stroll into the main draws and all of that.
Exactly.
But it also shows that our tennis is not where it should be.
The level is very bad.
There have been some marked improvements, especially with the very young players you get, but it's still a long road to the place where we want to be. And the place where we want to be is to be able to play majors and to play on the ATP and WTA tour. But it's a long road to that. Because if we're hosting this caliber of tennis and Nigerians are even struggling to get into the main draw, we need to take a look at what we're doing wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot that is not right at the moment. There's no doubt about it. In the men's draw, 2016 quarterfinalist Sylvester Emmanuel beats Gabriel Friday 6-1, and second set didn't go on because Friday we retired injured. Yeah, so good one for Sylvester Emmanuel. Emmanuel is joined in the main draw by Wilson Igbinovia, who is the nephew of Jonathan. Seems to be a good player as well too. He outlasted Benin's Arnold Sewano 6-love, 4-6 and 10-4 in nearly 2 hours on the court. God Gift, beg your pardon, Timbra also made it to the main draw with a 6-1, 6-3 win over Andrews Adu of Ghana in 61 minutes. On court 8, Paul Emmanuel beat Tochukwu Eze 6-4, 7-5 to also book his place in the main draw. Albert Bicom couldn't make it, unfortunately. He was beaten 6-4, 6-2 by Britain's Darrell Hill. While in the women's field, Shola, just the one girl that advanced into the next round, and that's Ronke Akingbade, only Nigerian woman to advance into the main draw of the Lagos Open, the second leg. She defeated Oiza Yakubu 7-6, 6-1 to advance, while there were bad losses for the likes of Omalade, Aderemi, Anu Egbesi, double bagel. Not the kind of scoreline you want to see at this level.
At all. At all. But we must say kudos to these tennis players. It's time for the Nigerian Tennis Federation and the Ministry of Sports across board, federal and state, to take a close look at how we can improve the lot of Nigerian tennis players. My issue with hosting elite events is that we basically don't do well at them because we are not that good.
Yeah, that's the fact.
We don't
that's
like
the truth.
It, but it's the truth. We need to speak the truth to ourselves. So let's go do some grassroots sports development, create a lot of tournaments and stuff so that when we play against each other, we will get better. We pick the best of them, take them out there, take them on tour also. There's the West African tour and other places where they can get to expose themselves and all of that. But it's a long
it's a long process. And talking about development, that seems to be a very big problem because Ronke Akingbade, the only Nigerian to advance into the main draw, is 31 years old, right? Yeah. And a lot of these names that we see are names we get to see year in, year out in the same competition.
There's a new crop,
Yeah, what's the new crop?
They're very young.
Yeah.
They're still very young.
Very young,
but in the next 2-3 years, you see how well they're doing because they're dominating at the teams now, the 11 unders, the 13 unders, and all of that. We're getting a couple of young players coming through the ranks, and I just hope that they can get the kind of nurturing they deserve to do very well. That's
very important, nurturing. Talking about nurturing, the singles champion, that's the men's singles winner for the first leg, Calvin Hemery, is of Nigerian descent, he's got a Nigerian father, and of course, we like to associate we see it in football a lot.
We like that a lot.
Yeah.
And look, it's not a crime, you get. But I feel that if a Nigerian or someone of Nigerian descent or someone that identifies with Nigeria and is allowed by law to represent Nigeria, there's no
Why
problem with
not?
it. You cannot keep them away because they didn't grow up here or they were not nurtured here. So there's no problem with that.
Not at all.
But while you do that, go and check what they're doing for them over there and replicate it here. You know, there's plenty of talent in this country. There's so much talent. That's why Nigerians go out and they excel. That's why there's a Nigerian that's playing in Great Britain at the highest level. They're playing in Russia and playing in other places. So why can't we do the same back home? You know, it's same old story over, and we're beginning to sound like a broken record. You know, facilities, you know, structure, you know, long-term and short-term goals, strategies, planning, partnerships, and all of that. These are basic things that we sing about over and over again. But it looks like these problems are not about to leave us.
God knows when the problem will leave us. Let's take a listen to Daisy Danjuma now, a member of the Lagos State Lawn Tennis Club. She wants Calvin Emery to represent Nigeria in future tournaments.
When they were playing, the vice chairman told me that the father is Nigerian. I was wondering what part of Nigeria. To my greatest delight was when I was told it's from Benin City. And that's where I come from. That's my constituency. So I'm very, very delighted. And I told the father that next time he should play for Nigeria, not France, as it's presenting now. We've seen many champions all over the world, you know, female, the Williams girls and Sharapova, many of them. And these are black girls. They were encouraged. They started from school. And if our girls start early and they are encouraged, they have a conducive environment, Nigerians are great, are doing things, you know, great as well. It's just a question of encouraging them and putting the right price, like all over the world, how they train their players, and we'll be one of the best too. I would like our girls to excel, most internationally. Nothing stops a Nigerian girl being the Wimbledon champion. So we'll all be delighted, and I'm sure if it happens, it happens, the whole of Nigeria will celebrate. We celebrate players everywhere when they win, and so it will be when they get to that level as well.
Of course, before you celebrate, there has to be, do you have to win first of all before you start celebrating? And as it is right now when it comes to tennis, Nigeria is a long way from playing at that level. That's the WTA and the ATP levels. Hopefully the authorities in charge are, you know, hopefully we always do this every time. Hopefully they just do the right thing and put the right structures and strategies in place for Nigerian players to try, because the talent is just too many. You step on the streets every time you see one, all sorts of talent.
There's plenty talent in Nigeria, across board, in all sports, you know. Now we're talking tennis, and there's so many tennis players out there, you know, but how many tennis courts do we have? How many schools even have tennis courts in the first place? How many of these kids will get to play tennis as early as they should, you know? And I like what Mrs. Danjuma said there. You know, I key into our optimism, you know, but the work has to be done now. And, you know, having said all of this, I have seen some improvements in Nigerian tennis in the past 1.5 years, 2 years. They have created more tournaments. There are about 2 or 3 futures in Abuja and all of that, and there's Lagos. But it's really just still scratching the surface.
Right.
There's so much to be done.
Still a lot to be done. Let's move on with the show now, talking about development. And the sport minister has been meeting with different federations ever since he came on board, and it's gotten a lot of people excited. This seems to be a man that is very proactive and seems to be passionate and follows the different sports in the country. We've seen pictures of him actually meeting with the Handball Federation of Nigeria. We all know the league is ongoing. Virtually one of the only leagues, going on in Nigeria right now. So they seem to be working very well in that federation. And the minister was announced to meet some of the players and the teams as well to give them a pat on the back, to encourage them to continue doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I would approach this with a cautious optimism.
Cautious optimism. Kindly hold your thoughts there. We need to go on a break now. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion on the Handball Federation of Nigeria, what they're doing at the moment.